So let's look at SQL alias. Alias is, we don't have any command like say alias. It's like, nickname, right? We are trying to give a nickname to a column or a table. That's what SQL alias is about, okay? An alias is a temporary name given to a column or table in a query. So when you give a temporary name, that name is bound to your client tool or your session. It doesn't change the table name or column name in the database, okay? Now you might ask, why do I want to give a nickname to a column or table, right? Let's say that you are asked to print some reports by your manager or by the business manager or CEO, right? So whenever you say first underscore name, last underscore name, it doesn't look good for a business people to look at database columns. Sometimes they get confused. So if you want to print something and if you want to present it in a meeting throughout the company, first underscore name, it doesn't look good. Other than that, you can say first space name, proper cases and stuff like that, okay? So that's the reason why you need this kind of techniques to rename a column or a table, okay? And again, it's a temporary. Look here, this is the my table. I am doing select employee ID, first name, last name from employees, right? But when I give an alias, I am trying to rename this employee underscore ID with proper, camel case with a space in between for employee ID, first name, last name. So now you look at this output and look at this output. This is definitely okay for developers. But if you want to publish reports or presenting something outside your team, outside the development team, then this would make more appropriate, to have proper names, with the proper indent, like camel case, okay? So that's what you just say employee ID as. I'm using double quotes because there's a space. If there is no double quotes, you don't need if there is no space, you don't need a double quote, okay? And it's not that I have to give nickname for all the columns. I can give only for one column, and the rest of the columns I can bring it back as employee ID. That's up to me, okay? Right. And then here, what is this? Yeah. And why do we need table alias, right? Why do you need a nickname for table? So this example will tell you why it's required. Actually, more than presenting your data to someone else, table alias is required technically to execute your query. Otherwise, you will get errors. So let us look at how do we get errors if you don't nickname a column, okay? So here I have a branch table with 5 columns and I have created at the end, and I have an employee table with so many columns. Sorry, I should have printed created at here. That's missing. Oh, it's here, sorry, created at. So now you see I have created at in branch as well as created at in employee, right? Now I am trying to select employee ID from this employee table, the first last name from employee table, and then I'm saying give me created at, and then I'm saying from employee, and then I'm joining these two tables, right? So it's just like general English communication. If you say that, hey, can you call him or her, you are like, who is that him or her? You need to be very specific, right? So the same way, because see, if there is only one person in the house, if you say call her, you pretty much know you want to call your sister or mother, right? But if you have 2 sisters or 2 females in a house, then you don't know whom to call. You should be specifying, okay, to whom you are pointing to, right? So that is similar to what it is, because I want a created at column here, but this column exists in both the tables that are used in this query. Now you have to tell to the database server, please bring this created at from either this table or this table, or you can bring from both the tables, right? So let's see how you are going to modify this query to tell the database that bring this created at from either of this table, okay? So if you run this, you will get an error saying that created at is ambiguous. That means this table column exists in both the tables. So I am giving alias to the table here. So here you can specify as, or it's okay if you don't specify. I'm aliasing, giving a nickname to the employee table as E. I'm nicknaming the branch table as B, right? So now I say this employee ID, I want to bring it from employee table. So I say E dot. E means employee. So E dot first name coming from employee table, E dot last name coming from employee table. Now I'm saying E dot created at. So I'm telling specifically bring the created at from the employee table, right? and then that's it. So now this is valid command. So there should be a reason why you actually join a table. See here, I'm not selecting any data from the branch table. Actually I intended to add a branch name here, so that's the reason I had this sample. So you can say b dot branch name, right? If you say b dot last name, you get error because there is no last name in the branch table. B means branch, right? So that's why. And some people, what they do, they don't give alias to this table. They mention the full table name: employee dot employee id, employee dot first name, employee dot created date. Okay, so they do something like this too. But my preference most of the time, even though I have, whether I might have a duplicate columns or not, I tend to use aliasing of the tables with a single or double characters and use it across all the columns so that it's very clear and readable. Okay, so that's what is this chapter, sorry, lesson about.